Hi, I'm Akos Jankura, and welcome to our real estate coaching session. Have you ever noticed that the most successful agents right out there, they're not the smartest people, they're not the best marketing people, for some reason, but they're always on top. And you sit here, scratch your head, I'm working at it, I'm trying to do it, I'm trying to figure it out, and why are they so successful, and why am I stumbling? Let me tell you something. What I've noticed is really great agents have a couple really important habits. And one of the habits that they do so well is they talk to people. And I'm talking about a gift to talk to people. I mean, talking to people is so important. The more people you engage in person, the more successful you'll be. I promise you that. Like, I gotta tell you something. A lot of agents back here, what they do is they text people. They call people and leave a message. And they think, okay, I talk to people, I email the person. That's not talking to people. My rule for you is talking to people is across four eyes. That's my mom saying. That means the four eyes meet. You've got to meet them in four eyes. Now let's talk about how you can do that. Well, first of all, you can't do that from your desk. You can't do that from your computer. You can't do that hiding in the corner. And you can't do that with a text. You can't do that with an email. And you can't do that with a phone call. Even a phone call is not talking to people. Talking to people is across four eyes. Here's an idea. Join some service community clubs. I'm wearing my Rotary Club thing today. And you know, when I first joined, it was difficult because I didn't know anybody. I was kind of a stranger in town. But I joined the Rotary Club. Now you can join any service clubs. There's the Lions, the Kiwanis, Rotary, all kinds of different ones. But join a community service club. I'm going to tell you something. I do millions of dollars in business from the Rotary Club every year. You say, what? Yeah. Because why is talking to people so important? Talking to people gives you higher power. It gives you an authority. It gives you trust. You can't trust anybody on a text. You can't trust anybody on an email. You can't trust anybody even on a phone. My gosh, think about the phone. How many times do you even answer it? Because you don't trust who's on the other end of the line. But across four eyes, trust can be built and you become a higher power. So join community service groups, right? Very important to do. Maybe it's a breakfast group, maybe it's an afternoon group. I just want you to be out there. Another thing I want you to do is I want you to wear your badge all the time. And everywhere I go, I wear this badge. It's on everything. I mean, everywhere I go, got the badge on, even in church, right? And the reason for the badge is because it's you don't have to brag about your badge, but people will ask you about the badge, right? For example, I'm in Publix, and I'm in line spending too much money, and there's a lady in front of me, and she's buying groceries, and I notice she has pork shoulder. And I go, pork shoulder is kind of an interesting, you buy the big pork shoulder. Well, hold on. A lot of people say, what do you mean pork shoulder? People buy big shoulder? Yeah. I got to tell you, Hungarians do great pork shoulder. And I found out so do some of the Spanish cultures. And I'm looking at this big pork shoulder. Last time I saw one, I had to go to a special market for her. And I said, hey, what you cooking? She goes, oh, we have this thing. And she'd explain to me how they slow roast the pork shoulder and make a crispy top on it. And I go, oh my gosh, I was salivating just listening to her story. And she says, do you guys cook pork shoulder? I go, yeah, I'm Hungarian, people cook pork shoulder. So suddenly we're in this conversation about recipes, right? While standing in line checking out at Publix. Then she says, oh, are you a realtor? I go, yeah, I am. I'm the broker over at the realty office at Remax here in Arcadia. And next thing I know, she's in a conversation with me about some real estate thing. The truth is, everybody has a conversation about a real estate thing. There's a sister buying a piece of land. They're thinking about selling their property. Everybody's wondering, hey, how much is my place worth? All kinds of conversations only because I wore this badge and I engage the person in conversation. Constantly engage the people in conversation. As you know, I worked on television for many years, 30 years of my life. I worked in front of the camera on TV. And I'll never forget, I was blessed. I had met so many great people. One of the people that really stood out to me was a guy named Richard Simmons. I worked on the stage with Richard Simmons and I worked with all kinds of people, all kinds of celebrities, because I worked at QVC and HSN, and if they were selling something, they usually showed up. Joan Rivers, she was fantastic. Let me talk. Joan Rivers and Richard Simmons had one trait that made them famous. I mean, you might think, oh, all kinds of, they lit up a room. If they lit up, they always left the room in a better state than it was when they entered the room. And I gotta tell you, Richard Simmons would walk in the room and he would know everybody, know their dogs' names. I mean, he'd remember stuff. Later I discovered he was wearing an earpiece and there was somebody behind him feeding the information, but But his purpose was to light up the room and to make the room a better place than it was when he walked in. Joan Rivers, the same thing. She did the same thing. She walked into a room, she worked the room. I mean, I guess there's a comedian, comedians work the room. But as a real estate agent, you need to learn to work the room too. Start up the conversations. Get conversing with people across four eyes, right? And that's so important. If you can just talk to people every day. And here's my challenge to you. I want you to engage in a conversation 5 times next week. Every day, get into one conversation. When you're driving home, you say to myself, Akos told me to get into a conversation, and I did. This is the conversation I had. Or that was the conversation. And I want this conversation to be one that they didn't initiate. I want the conversation as one that you initiated. If you do it 5 times a week, you don't have to do it Saturdays and Sundays or pick 2 days. Just 5 conversations, right? And I want you to put them in your CRM. I want to put that contact. And by the way, a conversation means you got the person's information. How do you get the person's information? Oh my gosh, Susan, that's a really great idea. Hey, I have a couple ideas. Can I email them to you? Oh, hey, listen, a lot of people do emails. Do you mind if I text it to you too? I want their phone, email, and their name. That's a conversation. And put them in your CRM. I promise you, if you follow our program, you're going to sell a ton more real estate. All right? That's step number 1. Let me just address something that's important. Why don't phone calls work? And I'm going to do a phone call session for you to how to handle a phone call. Phone calls work because we don't trust the phone anymore. They don't work. We don't trust the phone, right? Listen, how many times a day do you get, hey, you were approved for your loan? What? Or you were my age, hey, I noticed your Medicare wasn't ready. What? They're scamming you or spamming you or whatever they're doing, right? But I don't trust the phone. I'm a real estate agent and I worry if it comes from a 727 area in the code, I actually probably don't even answer it because my number is 727. All these scammers are using 727 numbers to get to me. You don't trust the phone. So you gotta be careful how you use the phone. And as a text, the texts are starting to get less trusted too because we get spammed on our text all the time, right? And I get when the elephant party needs your donation. What, the elephant party? Like I'm giving them the text. But texts are better than phone because some people try to short communication. But the best communication of all, remember what my mom said, across 4 eyes. Hey, listen, if you want some more coaching, all you have to do is give me a call, all right? I'll put the number in the script there. Just give me a call. I'm always open to questions for you have. If you're struggling with real estate, I'm available for coaching. And the guys on in my office here, they know we do spend a lot of time on coaching. We spend a lot of time on mentorship. And we spend a lot of time helping each other. And that's what I want this whole program and platform to be. People helping people. There's plenty of business to go around, right? We can all get some of it. But the people who are lagging and falling behind aren't getting enough of it, right? And I don't think a lot of people spend a lot of time teaching you, hey, listen, how do you sell more real estate? They show you how to do a contract. They show you how to do the CRM. And here's the latest platform. But how to do it grassroots, face-to-face. How to sell more real estate, we come here for that. My name's Akos Jankura, and you've been listening to Coaching with Akos on the Pulse.